Howdy everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Runt9 Plays Nova Drift. This is going to be a series we're going to do on the channel for a little while that's going to replace the Runt9 Plays Epic Battle Fantasy V series that we've been doing for the past couple of weeks. And I wanted to play Nova Drift mostly because I think it's a fantastic game. I've been enjoying the crud out of it on stream. And I also did a Runt9 reviews video on it here just a little bit ago. I'll put that video link in the description below so you can go check out what I think about the game. Spoiler alert, it's pretty good considering I want to make a series out of it. And, you know, the biggest thing is I wanted to do something that was pretty different from Epic Battle Fantasy V. And a big part of it is, you know, as I grow my channel, I want to put out kind of a breadth of content and, you know, focus more on the variety that I enjoy playing, at least initially, before I dive into some much longer running series. So I wouldn't expect Nova Drift necessarily to last more than a couple of weeks here, even though it is a really great game, and there's definitely far more than 2 weeks worth of content in it. But I think that it's a great fit for the channel. It's a game that I've been enjoying a lot, and so expect to see at least, you know, probably 14 to 20 episodes or so out of this. And so what is Nova Drift? Well, Nova Drift is basically Asteroids meets modern roguelike. And right out of the gate, like, that's already right up my alley. Asteroids was one of my favorite old arcade-style games. And yeah, I immediately latched onto Nova Drift, and I love the crap out of it. And so we're going to pretty much dive right in. Each context of a run, you've got these different challenge modes you can turn on, and it is an endless high-score chasing game. So it's not one where, like, there's a final boss, you beat that boss, and you win your run. No, it's endless waves of increasing difficulty enemies until you die. And it's just a matter of how good of a run can you build, how much skill do you have. You know, it's an action roguelike, so you do have to actually, you know, have good reflexes and good skills and all that. There's definitely also strategy in how you build your run and all that. I'm not usually a big fan of high score games, but this one, it definitely works for me. They've got practice mode that you can turn on. It's great for when you're first starting out. Obviously, I don't necessarily need that anymore because I've gotten past that point, but I'm glad that that practice mode exists while you're learning because the base game is pretty hard on its own. Endless is the basic mode. You basically just keep going and it goes until you're destroyed. You've got Wild Metamorphosis, which is a mode that got added in, I think, around back in September. And it just adds in some more interesting modifiers that you can add onto your ship. I'm very excited about Draft Mode and Daily Challenge and a little bit Boss Rush. Those will be coming out later in early access. So let's go ahead and dive in. And so you start off with a very basic ship, very basic weapon, and you shoot some asteroids, and here in just a moment, the first enemies will pop on screen. And what you're doing is you're going to be collecting XP to upgrade your ship with. So let's go ahead and blow these dudes up. They've got some very basic missile weapons. And so you get a choice of 3 different weapons, and then it'll give us 3 shield options and 3 body options. And I don't remember how many base weapons are in the game. I want to say it's somewhere around like 10 or so, maybe a little bit more. So of these 3, I love the railgun, but I think that of these, I think Split Shot will give you the best early example of what Nova Drift has to offer. It's, you know, your classic, I'm just going to fire 3 shots. It's got good AoE. It's got good rate of fire. It's got good damage. It's not bad at any one thing, but it doesn't excel at anything. Split Shot also has a lot of flexibility with how you build it, because you could focus on making your shots bigger and do more damage. You could focus on rate of fire so you can just really burn things down. You can focus on adding more shots. So your shield upgrade, you got 3 different options here, and there's a bunch of different shield options, and I haven't even unlocked all of them. With the shields, the vast majority of them have kind of like this ring around you, and they do various effects based on enemies being inside that ring. So for example, Halo, it burns enemies inside that shield, but you take shield damage. Bastion is a great one. It puts up like this wall in front of you and grants you some extra damage resistance. And Warp, I pretty much never use because it's very unpredictable, where when your shield is destroyed, it teleports you away and does a giant pulse of damage. So I think for this one, we're going to take Bastion, which is definitely an unlock that I picked up. It also turns things the nice Runt9 Plays orange, And so, you know, always got to love that. So we're going to use our split shot here and get our body upgrade here in just a moment. You can also see at the top is your score and your level. So you can see that there's our upgrade. We're now level 3. And so we have 3 different body options here. We've got Spectre. This one, it allows you to cloak when you're not firing or moving quickly. And you gain increasing weapon damage the longer you are cloaked, up to 200%. And then once you start firing or moving quickly, it diminishes very, very quickly. You've got Assault, which is just a very simple make my gun better. You lose a little bit of defense, obviously. And then you've got Firefly, which your thrusters behind you will burn enemies and also makes you a little bit better at being your own missile. I think in this case, I'm a fan of Assault. I like going a little bit more glass cannon with split shot. And so you can see it gave me a little bit tighter spread, a little bit more rate of fire. And in general for split shot, yeah, the AoE is great, but it's also nice against like this type of enemy to be able to burn him down more shotgun style. Get in close and let the spread shot really do some dirty work. Now we get to level 4. And this is your first dose of the modifier trees. And this is where the game gets just crazy good. You obviously also have a chance to change your weapon, shield, and body. And it will give you one of each every time you get a level up. You can also re-roll, and you get certain numbers of re-rolls as you progress through each run. But most importantly, you get these 7 modifiers, and each of these 7 have their own different trees. And there's a lot more than 7 modifier trees, and I haven't unlocked all of them either. And there's a combination of purple ones, which are defensive based, orange ones, which are constructs like drones and allies that follow you around and do extra damage. Blue ones are your wild metamorphosis mods. And then you've got your red ones, which are weapon mods. So in this case, our wild metamorphosis mod is Chaotic Ambition. +1 maximum wild mods offered per level, +1 reroll. And a lot of wild mods are recursive, meaning you can take them multiple times. So if we wanted to get zany with it and get more wild metamorphosis mods, we could take this one. But I think right out of the gate, I'm going to take some rate of fire. We're not going to do burst fire, and I tend to not like Warpath. Siege weaponry is pretty great, but the thing is, if I'm not going to go deeper in the tree, maybe I won't take rate of fire on this one. And blast radius is an interesting one because we don't start with exploding projectiles. But look at what this says. Non-explosive projectiles deal 15% damage as blast damage to other targets. Triggers when the projectile is destroyed on impact. And that means by adding that, any future blast radius mods will increase the newfound blast radius on our weapon. The best part of this tree is Rupture at the end. And you'll have these 2 mods that once you take the first one, these 2 mods will randomly show up in future mod pools. Rupture causes enemies to explode when they're destroyed, dealing damage to nearby targets. And that can start some really fun chain reaction kind of things. You've also got simple things like shield durability, hull regeneration rate. Drones are small and decently powerful, and you can get more of them. An ally is a single, more advanced, more autonomous enemy, or ally. It's literally an ally, not an enemy. But I think for showing you some of the zane of this game, let's go with blast radius, and now our projectiles have these tiny little explosions. Also, I don't pretend to be good at this game. We are gonna make sure that's well known right off the bat. But I do think that I'm getting better at this game with each playthrough, as you would kind of hope. So we've got a weapon mod here for projectile velocity, which is a really, really good one for split shot because it gets your projectiles there faster. And also allows you to pick up things like snipe that do more damage the further away you are. Calibrate's a pretty good one. And then incendiary strike, which causes your targets to burn when you hit them. I also like the increased blast radius ones here, and I know I mentioned getting Rupture. but I think I'm going to go ahead and take the projectile velocity on this one. You can see how much faster my shots are. We're only level 5, and you can already see that it's starting to feel a bit different from the way it initially was. And so here's our first boss. And that weapon hurts a lot. You can see down at the bottom, the orange bar is our shields, and the pink bar is our hull. So he's going to shoot again, and we're going to get out of his way. Burn down the new ally that he spawned, and then get him out of there. Nice, quick, and easy first boss battle. So Snipe is a good one, Calibrate's a good one. Magnitude is another great one. It increases projectile size, weapon damage, and blast radius. And I love picking this one up for Splinter because your projectiles then splinter on impact, which when you combine that with Rupture is a great combo. And so we're just going to go for a bit of a glass cannon build here. I don't think I'm going to pick up Snipe this time, but we will pick up Magnitude. Okay, we've got a couple wild mods here. That's plus regen rate. I don't like this one as much because it does reduce your hull and shield. Ally Specialist would help if we were going to go the ally route, but I don't think we're going to this time. And then Wild Mod, X flat damage for weapons that hit, X% burn damage. This one causes you to constantly take damage. I haven't taken that one yet. It seems a little too zany for my taste, but we'll come back to it. Volley is also a great one with split shot, but I think we kind of have enough weapon mod trees that we're working on right now that I don't want to introduce another weapon mod tree. I'm actually going to re-roll this one. Drone Specialist, Calibrate, Targeting is a great one, Heavy Caliber is also a great one. I don't want to work on more weapon mod trees right now, so I actually think Calibrating is a good one to go ahead and grab, because that'll get us closer to Incendiary Strike. Basically what Calibrate does, if you can see that, oh, let's get out of here. We're taking a little bit of damage from everything. What Calibrate does is you can see this little white circle in around the front of my ship. What that's doing is after I don't fire for a while, it decreases the spread of my gun and improves the projectile targeting. So my projectiles become a little bit homing. So now we get Splinter. Outrage module is also pretty decent. I haven't seen that one before. Then Revelation, the next wild mod you choose is gained 3 times instead of once. Oh, I love that one. We're gonna take Revelation. And then Skirmish. Skirmish is great if you're going for more of a, I'm gonna turn my ship into its own homing missile kind of build. I think Incendiary Strike is the play here. We're now going to start burning enemies alive. So he caught on fire, and so he died after I stopped firing. So the upgrades come quick and fast, and once you get a little more used to the game, you know, we're going to pick up Splinter here. You can see how now projectiles start firing out after I hit somebody. These guys do a bunch of damage, and that's why you want to not let them hit you. Shield recharge rate would certainly be a nice one to have. And yeah, being able to burn enemies on contact helps a lot. We need to get out of the way and let our shields recharge. And Splinter helps out a lot against these smaller enemies, as you might expect, because the splinters will fire out and damage the these smaller, weaker enemies and get them out of our way. Your body gear base stats are improved by 10%. Your body gear unique powers are improved by 15%. Enemies encountered are always elites or champions. Don't think I'm going to go for that one. 7% rate of fire plus 1 burst fire. This mod may be taken multiple times. Galvanic outburst is pretty good. Snipe, I think, is the play here. Incandescence can also get really nice, because then we can get corrosion and increase burn damage and things like that. But I think we'll leave Incendiary Strike as it is and probably go ahead and pick up Snipe here. It's more projectile velocity, which is just a ton of fun. And now we just kind of focus on being at range and just sniping enemies. It's a fun set of modifiers, and you can see that like this is a pretty high damage build, but we're also taking a large amount of damage, and I need to be better at dodging. So maybe it's time to start getting some defensive modifiers here pretty soon. I've got an upgrade ready. I just like to clear the screen a little bit. Payload is a good one, and then we're definitely not going to go charge shot on this one. I'm thinking that concentrated blast is an interesting one, but I actually think high explosive is going to be the one of those that we want. Shield cooldown I think is going to be a good one. I don't think we're going to want discharge. Volatile shields is a really solid one. So yeah, let's grab shield cooldown, and then we'll grab volatile shields as well. That'll make our shields explode in a massive explosion when they get broken. Which, I mean, the ideal scenario is that your shields never get broken, but as anyone knows in any action roguelite, of course you don't want to take damage, but you will, whether you like it or not. Oh boy, hello friends. Let's thrust around and get out of there. And then these guys have these forward-facing shields that are a little difficult to deal with. I'm going to try to get around behind them to do more damage. Now granted, they lay mines behind them, so you have to be super careful. Turret Specialist. I'm tempted to take Double Tap, but let's go ahead and take High Explosive so that we can get our Rupture here pretty soon. And now our projectile explosion radius is actually doing something. And now it's time for this boss. So we are going to do some pretty decent damage to this boss, but what you really want is to get inside of that front part, because where basically the inside part of where those lasers are firing from is where you want to do your damage at. So we're going to work our way around and then try to do some damage in here. Let's get out of the way here. This weapon, you basically just dodge it by going to the other side of the screen and then going back to the other side of the screen. Just working your way around so you don't take damage. We are getting hit by stuff. Not a huge fan of it. And so, like, the vulnerability detected is telling you where you shoot to do maximum damage on this guy. And so it's not the easiest thing in the world. I would like to be better at it. It is spinning faster now. Crap. I went off the side of the screen. So it is side-scrolling. I am taking lots of damage here. It is entirely possible that we die here, because I am playing very poorly all of a sudden. Let's just try to burn it down. Oh, got it. Let's go. I got my shields back. Let's get out of trouble here, and then we'll grab our upgrades. I think we've got a couple of them, actually. Okay. Whew. There's Rupture. We're definitely taking Rupture. And then flash shielding, faster shield cooldown, but minus max shield. Not a fan of that one. Targeting is a great one. So we are going to take targeting here. It starts making our projectiles a bit homing, where it'll start to try to seek enemies. Now, the initial projectile targeting upgrade doesn't do the greatest job, but obviously the more you get into that tier, the better. All right, so singularities are black holes, and as they move, their gravity increases and they try to suck you in. So you just, avoid them. Generally not a good idea to get sucked into a black hole. I would recommend against it. We are almost leveled up. So these worm guys we should be able to work through pretty quickly with our current weapon setup. Between the little micro explosions, the good AoE, the fire damage we do. So I think we grab volatile shields here. Galvanic outburst discharges a bolt of energy each time you take a shield hit, and it does burn damage. It increases our shield damage resistance and shield effect power. Discord. Orbs of Discord orbit erratically and lash out at nearby enemies. So we do have this guy, the Revelation. Next recursive mod is gained 3 times. So this will actually recurse and give us more bolt discharges as well as more damage resistance and shield effect. So I think we're actually going to take that one. And so now you'll start to see these little you know, bolts of energy come out from our ship every so often. Oh man, kind of like that. They do some pretty decent damage, honestly. These guys are not easy to deal with. You want to kind of get in their sides. But I am also trapped now. I mean, I also could have gone off the side of the screen. There is also that. There we go. Got them out of the way. We've got an upgrade. I want to get a little bit cleared up here. And so this is where the game starts to get a little on the chaotic side. Max hull is probably a good idea. I definitely don't want discharge. I think payload is going to be the one that we want here. Give us weapon damage, projectile size, and blast radius. Did lower our rate of fire a little bit, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Slipstream is a decent one. All right, guidance is going to do greatly increased projectile targeting. So now you can see that we're starting to get much more homing style shots. Like there you can see it's actually seeking out enemies a lot more, and you can see how the run just really evolves over time. I mean, is the game basically 2 buttons and you sit and hold down the fire button a lot? Yeah, kinda. But if you want to oversimplify that, I can say the same thing about, like, you know, Enter the Gungeon is just, oh, you know, make sure you dodge roll at the right time, forehead. The intricacies of this game are a lot more nuanced than it looks on first glance. But this boss I die to fairly regularly. And so we're going to do our best not to die here. They're about to spawn a singularity, so I want to get off the screen. And just keep focusing on doing damage. Let's go ahead and grab an upgrade while we're here. Homing Strike, I definitely think I'm going to take. It's going to give us projectiles that come out of the side of our ship that have very high, very good targeting. They do significantly less damage, but it gives us an even better area of effect capability. We want to get out of the way there. You know, our shields are taking some good damage, but we're doing a decent job of staying out of harm's way. I say as I'm tanking the shots to the face. So whenever he finishes that attack, he spawns another singularity. So he's going to be coming up on the corner here pretty soon. So just stay out of the singularity. You don't die when a singularity sucks you in. You just get pulled into a completely different part of the game, basically. Oh no! Oh, we just stood there in front of the laser. Oh man. That run was going well, and also, like, look there. We had just a sliver of health left. That was just really bad play on my part. I saw how close we were, and I was just trying to burn the boss down and get out of the way. Okay. All right, that's fair. You know, I messed it up. That's my fault. So we ended up with a score of 36,450. And if we go back over here, you'll see that that made it to 7th place on my high score list. So at the moment, I had a couple good runs on stream, I think on Friday, that were pretty solid. I had a lot of fun with them. And so we're sitting at about 24 minutes into the video. I think that's probably enough time to say we're not going to be able to squeeze in another run. So we're going to go ahead and call episode 1 here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Since this is a new series, your feedback and support is even more important than ever because it lets me know, is this series a good idea to do for a long period of time, or are you sad that this is the game that I chose to do next? I would love that feedback, whether it be here in the comments section or over on Twitter at Runt9 Plays. I want to hear from you. And obviously, you know, upvotes and downvotes, or likes and dislikes, whatever you want to call them here on YouTube. Definitely also let me know what you think of it from that perspective. And also, you know, it's highly likely that you'll see Nova Drift coming up on stream as well over on twitch.tv/Runt9plays, where we're playing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. But for now, until the next episode, until the next run, see you later.